The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary-related entertainment.
Aloha and welcome to Maui Nonprofit Notes. Each week on this show, you'll find us talking story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support those with needs within our community. Maui Nonprofit Notes is generously sponsored by Pacific Source. If you're building or remodeling a home, please stop by Pacific Source's Cabinet and Appliance Showroom located in the Waikapu Bayshard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director, Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. During the hour, we share some of the experiences of our nonprofit agencies and just how they're changing lives, changing communities, and creating miracles of hope for those with needs. Today on our show, we're going to have, we have Max Tornai, who's the Development Director for Habitat for Humanity Maui.
Hey, Susie.
Hey, you. We're going to talk to you in about a half an hour, but in the meantime, sit back and listen. And if our other guest, Mr. Dave Daly, who's the Director of the Department at MEO, which is called Business Development Center. How are you, David?
I'm good, Susie.
Yeah?
Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for joining us. So, Max, you know some things about this department, so if you have any questions or anything, feel free to chime in.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Definitely.
Great. So, David, it's been a little while since you've been on the show, but still doing Core 4?
Still doing Core 4.
You know, I love the way... I don't think I have ever heard anybody who's taken Core 4 2 years later call it Core 4. It's always 4 Core. And I keep trying to think obviously they got the intent of the Core 4 because the 4 pops out
They
for
got
them.
it, yeah.
And those 4 cores are?
Success planning, market planning, cash flow planning, operations.
There we go. So, I guess that's the important thing is they got the 4 pieces. Mm-hmm. But it's just, I just kind of chuckle every time I hear that because, when I was over there, it was the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's like, they got it. Is the name important? Well, kind of, but 4 core is close enough.
Yeah,
we'll take it.
Exactly.
We'll take it.
Or I took the business planning class at MEO.
There you go.
You get that a lot.
Do you? Yeah.
So they won't say Core 4. They'll say the business planning class.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So how many graduates are you up to in total in that program?
You just hit me with that right out of the box, didn't you?
well, we were somewhere around 1,500 when I left, and that's been 5 years ago.
Yeah, so tack on another 150 per year. So we got to be 2,200, something
Wow,
like that. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think last year did 148 graduates. And it just keeps on ticking. It's like a train that sort of just keeps going. You go, it's dwindling here, or are we going to lose some of our numbers? And just every single class is amazing. The month prior going, there's so much interest, and people are calling and going, I want to get in, so-and-so told me about it, I need to do it. So it sort of just feeds itself, really.
Wait, remember how many times did we in our weekly meetings talk about what can we do to keep interest going?
Exactly.
And it always came down to just do the program.
Yep.
I mean, it is self-interesting.
Yep, just provide the opportunity.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think the thing that's so great about Core 4 is that it's good for not only the person who's thinking about starting, but it's also good for somebody who's in business and having some problems.
Exactly.
So,
I like to say, that I tell the students, you're going to be empowered. So what you do with that knowledge, it runs the gambit. No one's forcing you to go into business, but you know what the structure you need to have in order to at least have a chance of success. Mm-hmm. So that's, to me, I think that's the best part of the whole program, is that it gives them the little bit of light at the end of the tunnel going, I can do this.
Right.
Yeah.
And the lasting impression is what gets me, because the other day I was checking out at Home Depot, and the person who was checking me out kind of took a second look at me, and she says, "Are you still teaching?" And I'm going, no. And of course, by this time, I have no clue, who I'm talking to, right? And I said, did you start your business? And she says, not yet, but I'm still hoping to.
Yeah.
She says, I have that book right there, and every once in a while I pick it up and I look at it and I look at my plan that I put together, and I think, am I getting any closer? Does it still look the same? And she says, it's almost totally different from when I finished.
Oh, yeah.
Because time and experiences have taught me. But she says, it's still my dream, and it's getting closer to reality, but I still have to work right now and get a paycheck.
Exactly.
And that's one of the big things.
That's one of the large, that is the dynamic that comes across in the classes, that sometimes it's okay that you find out you can't do what you want to do. The reality is, how do you tweak it so that it is realistic? And if that's being part-time when you're working somewhere else until you can build it, so be it. There's very few people that have the opportunity to jump right into something out of a existing job and jump right into a paycheck for a business that they've just created.
Right.
I've seen it.
Well, especially here on Maui. I mean,
Yeah.
where very few people have much of a savings, if any, and are basically living paycheck to paycheck. So how do you put together some kind of a fund set aside for this? I'm sure it probably gets tapped for a lot of other things in the meantime.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
it's the excitement of seeing them get excited.
Exactly. Every night. Every Tuesday and Thursday evening, I get excited.
It's what takes you to work the next morning.
Kind of.
Yeah.
It's there's some nights that are better than others.
Right.
But the enthusiasm that you can, when you see the lights go off and then they start to really grasp it, to me that's exciting.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, you can on some people you can almost see that light bulb go on. It's like, oh wait, I got it. That makes perfect sense.
Exactly.
Or why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
And it's really exciting when it's somebody who is in business and is struggling, and they now are starting to see the things they're doing wrong.
Right. That's one of the beauties of Core 4 is it's sort of like being the master of the obvious. And a lot of times when businesses are not doing as well as they should be doing, it is literally something that's usually very, very obvious, and people look for the hardest point. They're looking right past that they see that's right in front of them that they're just not taking attention to or paying attention to.
Right. Now, I know one of the biggest things that's probably changed in the program since I was there is the use of social media in promoting your business and getting it out there.
Yeah. I think we have guest speakers that will come in and do 30 to 45 minutes on different subjects, whether it be in cash flow, whether it be social media, web-based business. We had Wayne Wong in last night to tell about the research library and a little insight there. So they get a little bit of a first-hand look at it, but social media is, everyone's like, yeah, that's how I'm going to do it. And when they find out that there's so many different avenues that you need to connect in order to even be part of the pool, they start to calm down a little bit. Having a web page is a lot different than going, I'm going to be all over Twitter and Facebook, and this is how I'm going to do it, when they actually understand the nuances of it and why one will connect with another and how many followers you have to have in order to be seen, then they sort of go, oh, okay, yeah, that's going to be part, but it's not an end all to starting my business. So it's good. It's all in, everything is sort of an aha moment, each one.
Right.
So just being able to kind of put that across and let people take a bite out of it, so to speak, chew it up for a while.
And I think, too, part of it is who their audience is going to be. I mean, there's a big age factor in that.
Oh,
if
huge.
If it's the millennials, yeah, social media. But if it's older folks or retirees, forget it.
Yep.
They're not going to see it.
And where, just like you said, their market of they're going after, if they're going after, I'm going to be tourist orientated. Well, there's a dynamic of someone who's staying in a hotel and someone that's in a bed and breakfast. That's someone who is in a condo that they own, in Kahana or a Kihei. The dynamic is totally different. So, to clump them all together, which people like to do, I'm going after this segment and everyone's in it, right? So there's 150,000 people on this island. I'm going to get them all.
Little pie in the sky there, I think. Yeah,
exactly. But, it's that sort of putting it out there so they can see what the dynamics are gives them a much better chance at actually sitting down and putting their plan together so that it really makes sense and they can look at it realistically and go, yeah, this is viable. This is realistic. I can continue this, beyond a month or 2 months. And the bigger thing is I either have the money to jump in or I know where I'm going to get the money to jump in. So, us being in the financing and lending side of things, we can help people on that end as well. So
Right.
it's worked well. We don't have as many, I guess you would say, students that are going through the lending process as we had 5-6 years ago, or businesses, I should say. There's a lot more liquidity in the market now, and people are able to obtain money at, I'm not even talking the cost of the
Right.
money, but able to obtain it relatively easily, as in I clicked enter. It's a lot different than filling out an application and having it be reviewed by a committee of people who look at it and sort of squeeze it and go, yeah, you can do this, to someone that goes, yeah, that's great, I'll give you this money at 36%.
Whoa. Are you finding people really doing that?
Oh, yeah.
36%? Yeah.
I think that's the sort of the threshold right now at that type of, it's not payday lending, but
Right.
it's a quasi derivative of that, and it's available. It's available with very little effort, which that's the scary part, because I've seen the other side
Yeah.
of businesses that have come in and gone, I want to refinance my debt,
Yeah.
and I'm looking at it going, wow, that's a big chunk of money. And the business is doing well and viable, and he's being sucked underwater by a payment that, now, there's no prepayment penalty, but the reality of, unless you're going to pay it off, you're going to continue to make that payment.
That interest
So,
is,
yeah.
all you're paying is interest forever.
You are paying
Pretty
a little
close.
principal. I've seen some of the bigger ones that are on deck and Prosper. I think there's a couple other ones that are fairly large. Cabbage. You pay principal, but you pay a lot up front.
That's
Kind of
unbelievable.
scary. Yeah.
But now, what kind of amounts are they borrowing? I mean, are we talking about $10,000, $50,000? Whoa!
Had
that interest
someone
level.
actually bought a business, purchased a business, put in some of his own money, but used the remainder of the balance and got it from one of these online lenders.
Oh my gosh!
And so when they come through and go into your classes, those are some of the topics and pitfalls that you can teach people to avoid?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And we don't touch on that dynamic. We just sort of make them aware of, what monies they need to put in, what sort of, when we do cash flow, we really look at the dynamic of, what's the potential for this business? What are your costs? What's realistic? And a lot of times people can't even pay themselves. So when you're looking at a number going, can I afford a $800 loan payment? You can erase and delete and do whatever you want, but it's sort of it's buyer beware, so to speak, and they're not saying no.
Right.
If you go to a bank will say no. There's times where we have said no, but very rarely will you have someone who's really making money off of this lending. which is not a bad thing, but that's their business model.
Right.
This is how it's set.
Gosh.
Yeah.
So is it after that class that somebody comes forward and talks to you after class and says, I think I need to talk to you about my financing?
They do. They do. It's a sort of tricky thing a little bit. Some people are ashamed. Some people don't, sort of like talking about credit. It's a very private thing. But when they're developing their business, usually if they are on their way to producing a business plan, they're forthcoming with this information, and then I can look at it and go, okay, here's where you are, here's where you need to be, here's the options that are out in front of you. So even there are times when even they're putting their own money and not even borrowing. There's times where I go, ooh, you might want to pump the brakes a little on this one. It's just one of those things where you look at it and the numbers usually don't lie, and there's really no guarantee. I think I've seen one or two startup businesses that really had what you would call as close to a great foothold with contracts that were actually in place already. They haven't been paid, but at least they have it in place so they can realistically judge the volume of income that they would have for the first few months. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, it's
wow.
the Wild West out there.
Yeah.
And
Here we go again.
Yeah, Maui especially.
Yeah.
We have quite a few home-based businesses. We have entrepreneurism in Hawaii, I would say, not just Maui, is very prevalent,
Right.
which is a good thing. We draw a lot of tax revenue
Right.
off of these businesses, so there's a lot out there.
On that note, we got to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we're back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, where each week we talk story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors to find out what they are doing in the community to help our people. And in this case, we're trying to help people get ahead with starting their own businesses and doing it the right way. Before the break, we found out about some of the wrong ways. I'm still sitting here with my jaw kind of hanging down from what David just said, talking about these for lack of a better word, like payday lenders, really. I mean,
Yeah,
but
I
not.
wouldn't really go predatory.
Well, they're first cousin.
Yeah, it's a different business model.
Right,
Let's put it that
right.
way. And we'll call them online lender.
The online lender. I mean, you see all these commercials for, like, even home loans, and some of them are names you hear a lot about, but it's like, when you click, what have you done? It's just, I keep thinking, we're talking about making the payments and so on and so forth, or investing your own money, which maybe could even be worse, because, if you've accumulated some money. I remember one a guy that took my class who had won some pretty sizable stash of money on a game show.
I do remember that.
And he came back to town, and he came home, and of course he couldn't tell anybody about what had happened on the game show because they weren't going to show it for like 6-8 weeks on TV. And in the meantime, he's making a deal with somebody to buy their business. And he hadn't come to class or anything. He thought he knew what he was doing. He liked the product they sold and the service they provided. And he set up his business, the office, all that stuff, and he started running it. he went through that sizable amount of money in record time.
I believe it.
And then somebody had mentioned our class to him, and he came to the class. And after the second class, he started bringing his wife and somebody else in the family. I can't remember who it was, but somebody he trusted to talk to about what was going on. And he just, every once in a while, he'd be sitting back there, and he'd just lean back. Pardon me, I actually was showing everybody how he did it, if you lost me for a minute. Lean back in his chair, and I'd see him go, just close his eyes and kind of, let his head just wander over his shoulders.
Because you hit him over the head with a sledgehammer.
I made that mistake. I made that one.
It's like, he says, well, what do I do now? And so we sat down and we talked about it, and he got to the point where, after he really did some serious analyzing of it, the deal that he'd made on buying the business and the lease that he signed for where he was going to do the business, there was no way to make it happen on a long-term basis. It was fun while it lasted, but he's been long gone. And I think how sad, that money could have put his 4 kids through college, could have put them in a new house. The things that were stable about our lives, but because he had no concept and just had this dream that he could do it now because he had the money, sometimes we say you need to use other people's money.
Yeah. When you use your own money and you go into business and you're only looking at one little part and there's 15 more behind it that you don't see, that's the beauty of the Core 4, is that you actually get to see those. Now, you can go at that point and either, identify them and go forward or close your eyes, but at least you're aware of some of the things that could potentially put you at a disadvantage.
Right. And it's sad when you see that happen. I mean, there's really nothing you can do. I mean, all you can, what we did, what we could, and then is put it out there. And I'm sure that's what you're doing. And we got to get into this next piece because I think it's really exciting. How many times I've heard people say, "When's the next level class going to start?" Because we've got this and we're ready to start our businesses, or we've fixed things based on what we've learned, but now we got to go dig in a little deeper. And you're ready to say,
we're there.
Hey,
excellent.
We're bringing it. We being not only Business Development Center, but also with thanks to Office of Economic Development, which has been behind this program since first hearing about it. It's called Be Strategic, and what it is it would be the next step. This is for businesses that are currently in business. They have to have been in business for 2 years. There's no income derivative that, one's going to be accepted into the course and one's not. But it's mainly for businesses that are there, they're doing it, but they just can't pierce that cellophane to grow. That's, in a nutshell, that's it. And a lot of this really came out of Made on Maui. This is where the impetus of this program and looking at something beyond what Core 4 does, because we found so many cottage industries, so many cottage, businesses and home-based businesses that have been doing what they've been doing for years. And okay, we're here to help you. Here's a platform that the county is giving them to help them to market and sell. Now we want to match it up with them being to that level of building on that business and being able to be aware of what avenue they need to go down. So it's a different form. It's not instructional. It's a facilitator driven peer-to-peer series.
Okay.
It's 6 month long. They meet twice a month for the first 3 months and then once a month after. And the goal is to, strategic is the key word, because really what the dynamic is having a business create a strategic business plan. So Core 4 helps you start and develop a plan and a business plan. Be Strategic then takes you and goes, okay, you've been doing what you're doing. Now, what are you going to do going forward? So in order to make that determination, you've got to look within. What are you doing? What did you say you were going to do? How did you say you were going to, what's happening now? What's your marketing like now? What is your customer base different than, so you really are almost starting over, but you're starting from within because it's a viable business and it makes money. So getting to that next level forces the owner or owners of that business to not reinvent, but it forces them to reevaluate and look at things. And what is really cool about it is that it is not someone looking and analyzing and consulting. It's other business owners that are in the same boat that then get to critique, and they get to work together to go, you say you're doing green, but I'm seeing blue. Blue is all, so sometimes, like I said, the master of the obvious, some people don't see what the direction of what their business is going is nowhere near what they're putting out there, just as far as their marketing goes.
Right.
So it really lets businesses look and create another plan that will allow them to then get to that level, and they have to determine that level. And then within that class, series, there's actually internal audits, there's marketing audits that get done. So it's not something for, a struggling business that really doesn't have a whole lot of traction. That would be a tough one. But for businesses that are just there and they're going and they want more, this is it. You're going to get everything you need.
So when is the first class or the first session going to start?
We are going to do the first evening get-together. I don't want to call it I call it an informational meeting. It's dynamically new, especially to Maui. I think in Hawaii, I don't know. I know for a fact it hasn't been here before. To educate people who are interested, businesses who are interested, to find out, wow, this could be something really good. March 1st, the evening of March 1st, 6 to 7 p.m., probably go a little longer, 7:30, at our location at the Cameron Center, the MEO Family Center, and we're going to lay it all out for them and let them know that it's there, that the resources are there, and that all our partners, including not only, Business Development Center, SBDC, MEBD, the county, we all work in conjunction to try and help small businesses on Maui, and this is just another tool that allows them to take advantage of it.
So if I'm in business, and I've been in business for a couple of years, maybe even more, and my business is doing okay, I'm making some money off of it, my family's living off of it. Every year we see an incremental growth. It's kind of, but it's enough to keep us ahead of last year.
Right.
But I want to go to the next level. That's who I see that's
talking
to.
That would be our target.
Okay.
Do people have to register in advance, or do they just show up?
Well, basically they can just show up. We're going to blast this out here probably end of this week, beginning of next week, through all of our channels, press release, and through the county, and try and get the word out there. Because it really comes down to the dynamic of it as a facilitator-based course. We need a certain amount of businesses. Sure. It won't work with 4.
Right.
We need probably 6 would be a good number to have it really sort of work as it should. I'm not saying it wouldn't work with 4, but it would be better with a larger number. So really it's our job, and what we've been trying to do is now we're trying to get the word out and market it and let people know it's there, that this opportunity is available. There is a small fee for the class, but if you're in business, it shouldn't be a nominal it should be very nominal fee of $600. So
Okay.
they're going to get way more than $600 worth out of it.
Is it like Core 4 where there's financial assistance available, or it's flat fee?
Flat fee.
Okay.
Flat
Gotcha.
fee.
That's cool. And that's March 1st.
March 1st.
Informational meeting, and then the first session will start when you have that nucleus you need.
Pretty much. Could be as early as 2 weeks later. We're locked and loaded training-wise. We actually brought the author of the program out from Atlanta, and she drilled us for 4 days straight. So we're up to speed on what we need to do. But it's something brand new. So literally, we're all going to learn together as we go through it. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I can see that. That's neat. So right now you're in the middle of a Core 4 class. It's going to end towards the end of February?
Mid-February, I think.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you start another one right away on March 7th.
Correct.
So it's like every 2 months there's a startup for the original Core 4 class.
Yep.
And now you're also teaching this on Molokai.
We have this on Molokai. We have a class ongoing right now, which is actually a mirror of our class, but Molokai and Lanai. We do that on both islands, but we actually do have a amazing person on Molokai who teaches the class that works for us. So she's very hands-on. So you're only going to go at the speed of the information that's out there and what's being taken in. So she's in the middle of her class right now, and I believe she has about 4 or 5 individuals who are part of and I can't remember the name of the ranch on the east end, the far east end of Molokai. Anyway, they're doing sort of different plots of agriculture, and each one has its own business. So one's doing bananas, one's doing, another type of vegetable or fruit, and they've all come to Core 4 to basically go, can I make a living doing this?
There you go.
I have this opportunity, I have the place, I have everything. And Kule, who is our representative on Molokai, she is a local farmer,
Right.
so no better person to give that information across as an eye-opener to you thinking, oh my gosh, I can grow this out of the ground and it should be no problem.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's cool. So March 1st, if you're interested in finding out what it's about. And I think the interesting thing, too, and we've stressed this before, is that you take the class, you may decide it's not for you. Starting a business, you couldn't do it. Or you just don't have the stick-to-itiveness to face some of the things that you're going to have to face.
Exactly.
But it's good for you as an individual as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's no such thing as not learning from this class.
I've never, and that's funny, I've never heard anyone who went through the course say they got nothing out of it.
Right.
You're going to get something out of Core 4, whether it be with your personal finances, whether it be how you look at different things, and going into business, you're seeing all the aspects of it. So
Right.
it's ongoing.
Even if you make the decision to not go into business, if you take that course, you can make that an educated decision.
Yeah.
And potentially save yourself from a lot of heartache, a lot of stress, and a lot of,
Good point. Good point.
and
a lot of money and
potentially
stress.
financial ruin. Yeah.
Ruin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a success.
Right.
That is what I tell them the first night. If you go into business, that's a success. If this helps you get to that point, that's a success. If you after this class is over, you realize that you cannot do this, that's a success.
Right.
I agree.
And we do see a lot of people who have very small ideas about what it takes, and they think as a hobby they're selling 10 of these a month. Gosh, if they could just sell 1,000 of them a month, what a difference that would be. Well, how hard would that be?
Right.
Don't even go there.
Exactly.
Well, the example that you gave earlier about the woman that you met at Home Depot that had taken the course, she was saying, oh, I still have that strategic plan set up, and I look at it so often, but I'm not quite there yet. I think that is extraordinarily smart to have made that decision and, keep working at it, keep trying to build towards it, but maybe right now isn't the best time for long-term success.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, for example, real quickly, we had a gal who came through and just got financing for a business that she went through Core 4 2.5 years ago and had chipped away at her business plan and her business and her idea. And when the right opportunity came along, she came
ready.
back
She
and
was ready.
went, I'm ready at this point.
Yeah.
Here's what I need.
Right.
I've got it all laid out. So, that's the other side
Right.
of the coin as well. On a side note, we were talking about individuals, and generally speaking, the tenacity that a would-be business owner needs is really the difference. You can make missteps here and there, but the persistence and tenacity, the people who succeed, the businesses that I've been with firsthand that have succeeded, have been, they don't say no.
Right.
They continue to grind, good or bad. And more often than not, they'll get past that hump
Yeah.
and go forward.
Or they see no as a challenge.
Exactly.
How do people get in touch with you if they have more questions?
That is an excellent question. I can be reached at our office number is 249-2990, and my extension is 418. But if you ask for anyone from the Business Development Center, you're going to get one, either myself or Loan Fund Manager John Flom or Courtney Doomlau. So any of us can help you with anything you need.
Cool. Thank you, David, for joining us and
Thank you for having me.
sharing this exciting news. And we got to take another break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about habitat.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back, and the voice that you heard asking some questions here when we were talking with David Daly of MEO's Business Development Center the voice was Max Tornai, who's the development director for Habitat for Humanity Maui. I might as well say the whole name, right?
Sure.
And you get involved in some of these kinds of things, not necessarily business, but on a personal level with people, because you're helping people build homes who can't afford to hire a contractor and do it that way. Right,
yeah. So, Habitat Maui is really on the front line of the affordable housing crisis, the homelessness crisis on Maui and Lanai. When we get calls almost every day of people panicking about their housing situation, rents are going through the roof. The inventory is getting a lot smaller, which pushes prices up. And a lot of people are struggling or living in overcrowded situations. So that's where Habitat tries to come in and either build new homes at what's truly affordable and make renovations and do repairs on existing homes that might need, their roof replaced or some safety retrofits for seniors, like a wheelchair ramp or a tub to shower conversion, that type of thing. So kind of run the gamut on all of those on that whole spectrum.
And it's through the volunteers that you have working with you that allows these homes to be built. Now, basically, the homeowner is going to be paying for the materials to build the house, but the labor is all volunteer.
Yeah, the labor is pretty much all volunteer. Unless we have a licensed plumber or a licensed electrician that's willing to donate their services, which happens fairly often. But we would be using volunteer labor for construction, and that's one of the aspects that keeps the total project cost down. And then, what Habitat does, or what we say a lot is that Habitat is a hand up, not a handout. So we're not giving away these homes for free. There's a certain level of accountability in that process.
Right.
But
now, can I interrupt you
Sure,
just a
please,
second?
yeah.
Now, the homeowner has to provide hours of labor as well.
Right. So for a new home, our requirement is 500 hours of what we call sweat equity. And so that is the beneficiaries of that home having to, generally it's being out on the construction site, helping to build your own home. Sometimes we have homeowners that are elderly or disabled, and it's not safe for them to physically be on a construction site, so they find other ways for them to benefit the agency and still count that as sweat equity. But yeah, it's actually a great way for there to be that level of accountability in receiving the benefit of a Habitat home. Not only are you putting your own sweat into that process, but you're learning how to, frame a wall or lay flooring, hang drywall, that type of thing. So if down the road, a repair is needed, you can either make the repairs yourself, you're knowledgeable in making those repairs yourself, or you can speak knowledgeably to a contractor so that you're not taken advantage of.
Right.
And so all of that goes into the long-term success of our homeowners. And, if you're able to make the repairs yourself, you're obviously saving that money that you'd otherwise be spending on a contractor. But, once the project, whether it be a renovation or a new home, once that project is completed, whatever the final cost of the materials comes to, is if it's a new home, we issue a 0% no interest mortgage, no profit mortgage for Habitat. If it's a wheelchair ramp or a renovation of any sort on an existing home, it's a 0% interest loan.
Wow.
And so we're able to set it up for our mortgages. We're able to do a 20-year, 30-year mortgage. And so with a lot of times we're able to get materials either donated straight up from construction companies, or at a fairly decent discount. And so, yeah, all of that goes into lowering the overall cost of the project.
So it becomes a truly affordable home.
Right, yeah.
And those monthly payments are very affordable.
Yeah.
Now, the people that you're serving, what percentage of the HUD income level are we talking about?
So Habitat serves between 25% and 80% of the median income of Maui County.
Wow.
That is HUD defines that as very low or low income. But for a single individual, for just a one person family, that range is about $17,000 to $45,000. So there are a lot of people on Maui that make $45,000 that might not think that they qualify for a Habitat home when they actually do. So
Right.
I encourage everyone just to give us a call if you're even think that you might qualify. Those HUD limits are based on family size, so it goes up depending on how many people are in the family. Those numbers I gave were just for an individual, so if you 2, 3, 4 people in your family, those income ranges go up from there.
Right.
But that's usually the first major hurdle for anyone to make the determination whether or not applying for Habitat is appropriate for them.
Now, of course, they have to have some land to build this house on. So what kind of folks are we looking at that would have land?
So yes and no. One of the major obstacles or hurdles for us is, the cost of land. And so a lot of times for our families, if we don't have a special project going on, they would need to either have inherited some land and still make our income ranges, or potentially have a lot with Hawaiian Homelands. And actually, if somebody has a lot through Hawaiian Homelands, that's probably the best deal that you can come up with in terms of building and owning your own house. But we've built, I think dozens actually of homes on Hawaiian homelands up in Waiahuli and down here in Waiahu. But we do have some projects where you don't need to own land to actually benefit from a habitat house, and that's our upcoming project on Lahaina side. It's part of the Kahoma residential subdivision. That's kind of Mauka side of Lahaina Cannery Mall, so just up the hill a little bit. But we were able to work with the developer and get those lots at a discount, so we're still able to keep those homes affordable, and especially for Lahaina side, where your median home sales price is in the $800,000 to $1.2 million. These are really truly affordable.
That's interesting. Now, could somebody go out and buy a piece of property? Say they find somebody just needs some quick cash. They've had this land forever. They're not going to do anything with it, so they turn around and sell it for $100,000. Oh, would they? $200,000. Can somebody who pays $200,000 for a lot come to you to build the house, to work with you to build a house on it?
I think potentially, but more often than not, if somebody's in a low income, in that income bracket, they would have to take out a loan to get that plot of land. And then you have to look at, you really have to look at your budget and make an educated decision on, okay, can I afford to pay the loan as well as a mortgage, pay the money that you've purchased the lot with, as well as pay a habitat mortgage, even though it's 0% interest. Is that going to be too much? Yeah. Is that really going to be doable? Is that going to sink you financially? And the last thing we want to do is set anybody up for failure down the road. We want long-term success. And the great majority of our partner families are in these homes long-term for the rest of their lives. That's their major investment.
Well, I think some of the people that I know that have built homes with habitat started out with a basic home. A few years later, added on another room or another bedroom or whatever, patios, decks, so on and so forth.
Right.
Some beautiful homes. Even in Molokai, there's a lot of homes.
Yeah. So Habitat Maui serves Maui and Lanai. Molokai has its own habitat affiliate, so all the affiliates are individually run. So we don't do any building over on Molokai, but I know that they have an affiliate over there, and they've probably built a decent amount over there as well. But we use a prefab home model through Hansador, so it can be 2, 3, 4 bedroom. We can go higher than that if it all depends on the family need and the size of the lot. So the homes that we have coming up on Lahaina side, the lots are big enough to probably accommodate a maximum of a 4-bedroom home. But those plans are designed so that, as the families grow, you could add a room onto that fairly inexpensively.
I see. Okay. So traditionally, the people that would have the land would be, like you said, the people who have Hawaiian homelands. Maybe there's family property that maybe the family is ready to kind of subdivide a little bit so that the kids can build their homes. And that's a perfect answer because it's probably handed over to them from the family. And I threw that other one out because I happened to be thinking about somebody that I thought was talking about trying to do that. And a good point that you made that is that going to throw them into a situation where they can't afford it?
Yeah, so one of our requirements, you talked a little bit about the sweat equity requirements for our partner families or our homeowners. Another one of our requirements is to take our homeowner education course. And we have a great family services manager, Sophie Lee, who is certified in doing financial literacy courses and helping with personalized credit counseling. But she's able to really take a look at an individual's finances and help them improve their credit scoring and take a look at their credit report and see if there are derogatory items on there to try to improve people's credit situations. But if somebody applies for a habitat home, they are required to go through that homeowner education process so you can really know what it takes to be a long-term successful homeowner, what types of homeowner insurance policies you might need to get, what kind of taxes you're going to need to pay, and all of that, having an escrow account, all of that, is foreign to somebody who's a new home buyer.
Right.
And, could be quite a surprise
Sure.
if you're going through that experience for the first time. That's part of the process.
If you're used to calling the property owner and saying, the faucet's leaking, you don't get that anymore.
No.
you got to fix it.
Right.
And I think one of the hardest parts is for people to understand that they need to set up their own reserve account, because even though it's a brand new home, things happen along the way. We've had some pretty major rainstorms and stuff that hey, even the most sound house
Right.
Could have some issues.
Right.
And a lot of people don't think about that. They think, okay, yeah, I've got the money for the payment. I can pay the insurance, the property taxes. I'm all set.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's 10 years later and it's like, we have to paint the house.
Yeah.
And while you might be able to paint it, you still got to buy the paint. And
Right.
I can't believe the cost of paint these days.
Gosh.
Right?
Oh, hello.
I mean, that is a perfect opportunity to direct
There
your
you
listeners
go.
to our Restore, which is where we get donations from, a lot of, kind of across the board from our community, but contracting construction companies or the hotels that are renovating, the resorts that are renovating, we get donated construction material that's a lot of times brand new, in really, really good shape, a lot of great furniture. So we're able to discount those items from retail value, even if they're brand new, sometimes up to 90% off. But those funds go to help our home build program. So that location of our Restore is at 970 Lower Main Street. And I encourage everyone to go in there and check it out, because we're constantly getting new inventory of things. And it's just such a feel-good experience to know, okay, I'm purchasing this item. It's helping a family in need, but at the same time, I'm getting such a good deal on this that
Right.
it's beneficial on so many different levels. And you're saving that material from ending up in the landfill.
It's such a win-win-win.
It's a triple win. Could probably
Yeah.
get a quadruple win in there somewhere if I thought about it.
I got you. So if you have questions about the Restore, give them a call at 986-8050. Open Tuesday through Saturday from 8:30 to 4:30. And I'm running out of time. So how can I get a hold of you for more information?
So if you want more information about the homes we have coming up in the Coahoma Residential Subdivision on Lahaina, we have 10 single-family homes going up there. You can call 242-1140. That's our office number. And anybody there can help you with more information about that. Or you can go to our website at habitat-maui.org. and look at our application process.
Wonderful. Thanks, Max.
Sure.
Hey, this has been quite a day. You suppose we could cut into the next show's time to talk a little more? He wouldn't mind, would he? Oh, okay. Oh, we better finish it up.
Yeah.
Maui Nonprofit Notes is sponsored as a community service by Pacific Source, the builder's choice. Give Paul and his staff a call at 986-0380 or stop by their showroom on East Oahe Way. We want to thank Dave Daly, who's the director of the department for MEO for the business. The Business Development Center, for talking to us, especially about the new program, Be Strategic. Give them a call at 249-2990. I want to thank Max Tornay, the director of development for Habitat for Humanity Maui. Give him a call for more information, 242-1140. We want to thank everybody for tuning in today, and don't forget to join us again next week, same time, same place, when we'll talk to two other agency members. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week, everyone. Aloha.
Aloha.